There's a few words NBA GMs and scouts keep using in reference to the upcoming draft class, but the main word is special. The 2021 draft is expected to produce plenty of great NBA talent. And to me, an easy way to put things into perspective is to look at it like this. The value of whoever becomes the 10th pick this year is much more than the 10th pick last year, who was Jalen Smith. And that's not a diss on Jalen Smith, it's just the facts. Many anticipate the draft to be very deep. And today I want to sort of highlight just how deep this draft is. And I'm going to answer this question by pointing out who I believe to be the best prospects from every section in the draft. Sort of like a mini breakdown. We're going to go from the lottery to the mid first round, the late first round, and so on. So yeah, but real quick before I go any further, what's up YouTube, Plug Speaks, back with a vid. If you're new, first of all, welcome, go ahead and sub, also like the vid if you enjoy. I upload 3 to 4 times a week, and we're currently grinding for 5k subs, also getting really close to 4k, so it would definitely be appreciated. But back to the vid though. Now the first section is obviously the lottery, and this year's lottery is super top heavy. Yes, even though there's talent all throughout, I'd still say it's top heavy. Because unlike most years, there is a consensus top 5. Because usually there's a consensus top 3. And everything after that is fair game. I know last year the Bulls got clowned for taking Patrick Williams at 4 since it was really unexpected. But it doesn't even compare to the slander that will arrive to any of the top 5 teams if they repeat such a risky move. They will be clowned beyond measure, because although the actual order is subjective, the popular opinion is that Cade, Jalen Green, Mobley, Jalen Suggs, and Kuminga will all be selected within the top 5 picks, and it's because all of them arguably have real franchise player type of talent. Cade strongly been compared to Luka Doncic. Jalen Green might lead the NBA in scoring one day. Mobley is an extremely skilled center. Suggs is a D Rose type athlete with clean playmaking skills. And then Kuminga's literally gotten Kawhi comparisons from teammates in the G League. I mean, none of these descriptions are weak, and it's exactly why this draft begins so strong. But the rest of the lottery is almost just as exciting, and specifically players like James Bouknight, Scotty Barnes, Sharif Cooper, Josh Giddey, and more are the guys to look out for with heavy star potential. If you don't know yet, James Bouknight is one of the best scorers available. He's one of the only lottery guys to have dropped a 40 piece, and his style of play matches Timberwolves' Zach LaVine so much to the point that he'll easily be an early steal if he falls out the top 10. Then Scotty Barnes is simply one of the safest picks available. It's almost like you can't go wrong if you choose him, simply because his impact on the game goes far beyond points and stats. In the modern NBA, there's plenty of scorers. You can find a 20 point per game scorer walking on the street. But we can't say the same about point forwards who are willing defenders, and Scotty definitely fits that description. And then Sharif Cooper is another standout, because this man's playmaking and court vision is possibly the best available, and he's already said he tries to emulate CP3 in his playstyle, and it shows. I mean, Sharif could definitely wind up as one of the best guards to come out this entire draft. It's a very real possibility. And then there's Josh Giddey, who is easily another one of the safest picks available, because as we all know, recently the level of respect for international competition has been rising, like this isn't the 90s, and the 6'8" point forward abilities Getty showed off in the NBL are far too much for GMs to just look past them. So yeah, and overall, this year's lottery is looking great. But now for the mid and late first round. This section is also full of a bunch of bright futures, specifically players like Trey Mann, Josh Christopher, Moses Moody, Ayo Dosunmu, Kai Jones, Zaire Williams, Cam Thomas, and so much more. Honestly, this section is full of guys who would probably go in the lottery if they felt like waiting a year. And a lot of these players have amazing potential because of how young they are and their skills when it comes to shot creation and pure scoring. I mean, it won't be surprising at all if guys like Josh Christopher, Trey Mann, and Cam Thomas go off as rookies and exceed the expectations of the usual mid to late first rounder. And then something else that makes this part of the draft even more special is the presence of Stanford's Zaire Williams. Because for those who don't know, prior to this past NCAA season, he was projected as a top 10 lottery pick. In high school, his play alongside Bronny at the very competitive Sierra Canyon was that good. He had offers to Duke, Carolina, UCLA, like basically every single big name school. And even though his recent performance at Stanford was extremely disappointing for his standards, we shouldn't ignore that he dealt with some unfortunate events in his family and the fact that he's still a lottery talent about to get drafted late first round. And that should tell you all you need to know about how deep this draft really is. It's insane. But I'm not even done with this section. Another standout player here is Kai Jones, the raw prospect 7-footer with a few guard skills that will probably go mid first round. He might barely make the lottery as the 14th or 15th pick. I don't know, but whether or not he does, he has serious potential to become another Joel Embiid, which I know sounds crazy, but we're talking potential. And even though it feels rare to actually see raw prospects pan out as NBA stars, the recent success of someone like Giannis, who literally just led his team to a championship 8 years after being a super skinny 15th overall draft pick, will definitely force GMs to at least consider the huge risk of picking Kai Jones early. But moving on to the early second round. Some standouts are Quentin Grimes, BJ Boston, Isaiah Todd, and Nashan Hyland. And this might actually be my favorite section. It's pretty cool, because the reason for each of their draft stock differs greatly. Now, BJ Boston is similar to Zaire, except you could say he had an even bigger drop off, because he was also projected top 10, but after a very unfortunate year at Kentucky, he's in a position to be drafted sort of late. But just like people said about Cam Reddish, despite the inefficiency, there's a chance his smooth playstyle translates to the NBA more so than college. Then there's Isaiah Todd, who I believe is easily one of the more underrated players in the entire draft. And I'll never claim to know more than expert scouts, but it doesn't make sense that someone with his skill set who put up 12 points and 5 rebounds on quality efficiency in the G League 1 year out of high school isn't guaranteed a spot in the first round. It's really crazy to me. Then there's Quentin Grimes and Nashan Hyland, who both heavily increased their draft stock through the NBA Combine. Now, Nashan is more so of a combo guard who excels in exactly what's needed by that role, playmaking and scoring, which pretty much makes him an easy choice for teams with an early second round pick. And I won't spend much time on Quentin Grimes because there's one word to describe the man: a scorer. And maybe also a sharpshooter, because that's pretty much his only elite ability. But that's not really a bad thing. I could definitely see him filling a valuable 6-man role like Jordan Clarkson did for the Jazz, and Clarkson is a bucket. But anyway, moving on to the last part of the draft, the late second round. Yes, there is still some standout players, even though they might spend most of their rookie year in the G League. But players like Matthew Hurt, Luka Garza, Aaron Henry, and a few others are multiple year college prospects with accomplished resumes. Matthew's a lethal stretch sharpshooter, Luka's a fundamental big with a talent for scoring. He averaged like 27 in the NCAA, and Aaron Henry is easily the best two-way prospect available in the second round. The man's fresh off averaging almost 3 blocks a game as a guard. So yeah, do whatever you want with that information. But anyways, that's about it for this vid. Hopefully I made it obvious that this draft class is extremely talented, because it really is. But yeah, let me know your thoughts around this draft class below, all of that. And yeah, I appreciate y'all watching as always. Like this up, share it, sub if new, all of that, and I'm out.